Hey, we are just going to discuss the pagination in the Flutter. So what is the pagination in the Flutter? Allows you to load the data into the chunks. Chunks, the term is to define to load the data into the small pieces. This is very helpful for us to load the large data into your apps. So let's get started the pagination in the Flutter. So we are on the IDE, and here I am just divided into two parts. This practice I have just divided into two parts. The first part is to load the first data, and then we will apply on the pagination on it. So first we get the data from the URL or from our source. So I have just created a function here, load data, for time saving. This would be very crucial. Okay, so I have the data. So we are just getting the response from the get URL. Get URL is basically we are just defined on the above, and we are just uncommented. These are the fake API. So I am just getting the response from this API. Okay, so we have the load data here, and we don't need the print statement and the pagination and the limit. Okay, so what would be a page in the start? The page would be start by 1, and I have to define the limit. What the limit we are just providing the data from the for the user. It can be a 10, it can be 20, it can be 5, whatever you define for. It is your requirement. So pagination and limit. First page, it shows the first page, and then this limit shows after the 21th, this page will be increased by 1. Okay, so at the time at one page, the items list would be 20. Okay, so we have the base URL and then page and then limit as a parameters. Okay, so we are just putting the response and getting the get API, and calling the HTTP function dot get HTTP.get and URL pass, and then pass the URL here, and then getting the URL. If the response you are know that about the get function, the get returns the status code and the body. The status code 200 is means that these are returning the data successfully. Okay, so these 200 status code, if the status code of the response is 200, so it will come into the if statement, then go to the decode the response dot body, and then set state, and then provide the data. Okay, so data we are just not initialized yet. Okay, so data is we have initialized the empty list, and now done it. Okay, so we are just I have defined the loader function, load data function. Okay, we need to call it into the init state. So I am just calling it into the init state, and then the okay, it's fine, it's okay. So then we are just going to describe in the body section. So in the body section, we have just implemented the all the code. The code would be available for you. The link in the description. This is the public repo. You can clone for your practice. Okay. So we don't need about that, and we're just completing the first part and then move to the second part only. Okay. So now the data, the things are ready, and let's get this restart, and I'm just restarting it, and refine, and now the data has been loaded. Okay, so data has been loaded. I am just printing the ID here, indexing here. So what index it should be print? 19. So it means we are just printing the data in the limit of the 20. Okay, so we are just printing the data in the limit of the 20, because it's starting with the 0 to 19 is the 20, the counter of the 20. Okay, so if I increase the page by 1, so it will start with the 21 to 40. Okay, so now the first part has been completed. The data has been loaded successfully, and now the second part is to pagination, to apply the pagination on it. So the second function is I have just declare as before. Okay, so we don't need the print statement. We have just declare the page, and we don't need about all things, all the stuffs. Okay, so now okay, one more thing from the part one, and you need to load the data. You need to show the loader while your data is fetching, and then the first loading data basically the false, and I will be true it. Why we are just putting the true? Because we have the section in the body. It's a true statement. If it's true, the loader will play the role. Okay, so this loader will play the role, and then after that we have fetched the data, then it will automatically fall. So what the step we are just doing to done it false. So we are just going to throw it, because we are just define the loader under the body, because we are just defining the here as a true. So I just put the false after the fetching all the stuff, all the data, so it automatically falls. So loader will close it, and then the column section would be start. Okay, so you can see the loader is here, and then the data appears. Okay, so first thing is that. So the second thing is we have just uncomment the load more data, the functions, and now the time is to call it. We are just calling into the controller. What is a controller? Controller is basically a scroll controller which defines the scrolling, where you are scroll it. Okay, so it's controller is not defined, so we are just going to define it, and I have already defined it, and just going to uncomment. And in the list view builder, we are just going to uncomment controller and controller. Okay, so basically we define the controller, and we listen the controller into the init state. Where is the init state? Into the init state, we are just listening it and pass as a callback function to load more data. It will load the data while we are scrolling up. Okay, so this is the scenario basically. While we are scrolling up, it is call the function and load the data. So this load data is pretty much different with the load data, because we are just checking here the decoder is not empty. If it's empty, so it's return different thing. It's a different kind of thing. Okay, so we need to put the condition here, and now the second thing, our things are ready, but the second thing is the loader. We need to show the loader here. Okay, so what the thing we are just doing going to deliver. So we are just going to discuss. So we are just putting the loader out of here. Okay, so the next phase loader, and here it is. This is the loader here. We are just going to define it. So where it is, and load more data, we have the condition here, and we are just not initializing it, and then this condition is very similar to this condition which I told you before, is loading what is its first load running. What it will do, it will run the loader while the data is fetching from the internet in the first load. Okay, so in the first load, it's fetched the data from the internet. While this instance, it will show the loader on the screen. Okay, so in the same instance, we are just getting the data from the internet, while this instance we are just showing to the loader into the bottom section. So we are just loading data, is load from for more running, and then we are just getting the true. Why we are just getting the true? Because we just show the loader out of the here. Okay, we are just showing the two loaders. one loader while just the data initialize, while we are just loading the data into the start, and the second loader while we are just scrolling up on the screen. Okay, so this loader is basically defined as, so we are just put uncommented, and we have true, we have defined the true, we have defined false, and then we if we call this functions, it automatically true, and then load the data. If it's true, the loader will appear, and then load the data while the loader is appearing, and then if the data is low, if the loading of the data is completed, then it will call automatically false. Okay, so let's get the results what we are have. Okay, restart it, and above now the loader is showing the data is getting from the API, and it's very pretty similar with the R requirements. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. If its video is very helpful for you, so thumbs up and keep share and keep like, so it will motivate for us. So thank you so much.